Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on, folks? It is your boy right here, MMA Reloaded, and welcome to the 45th edition of MMA Reloaded Real Talk, the show where we talk real, we never lie, cheat, and still bang bang. So, folks, as we crown the 45th episode, just a reminder, 5 away from the big 5-0, of course, and uh, I just want to thank everyone who joined us last time out, where we sat with, who did I sit with last time out? I'm joking, I'm joking, I'm joking. We sat with my boy, we sat with Ryan Trulin, my tag team partner and my partner in crime, if you will, my co-host, for episode 44, where we kind of broke it down. We broke down UFC 258 and Kamaru Usman's performance, and we broke down the heavyweight division, the welterweight division, lightweight division, the whole joint was broken down by me and Ryan. So, folks, welcome to episode 45, where, of course, we talk real, never lie, cheat, and steal. MMA Reloaded Real Talk. This is it right here, man. It's your boy, man. Folks, today I have a very, very, very special, it's a special guest to me. He's my boy, one of the brightest young talents in mixed martial arts. Um, he even with 4 fights under his belt, he's undefeated, folks. 4-0, the amateur king of the cage, flyweight champion of the world. Was set to go for the bantamweight championship too, but it didn't pan out. Training out of sequence in Norco, California. I am talking about Superglue Alan Martinez. And folks, of course, Alan Martinez has been on the show, folks. This is his third appearance on MMA Reloaded Raw Talk. Of course, a close training partner and a brother of current UFC bantamweight Johnny Munoz, former King of the Cage bantamweight champion in his own right. Shout out to Johnny. So, folks, today, of course, it's fight week once again. We're 6 nights away from Jairzinho Rozenstruik against Cyril Gane. Another heavyweight clash, another heavyweight main event. Folks, now following Derek Lewis's KO over Curtis Blades. You never know, man. You never know. You never know what the hell is going to go down. You never know with two heavyweight main events and two heavyweight main events featuring the top 10, 4 guys in the top 10, you never know how that's going to shake shit up. You never know how one performance could sort of shake up John Jones's debut, even. And with Tom Aspinall, of course, his performance over Andrei Arlovsky, how that's going to work, how that's going to, sway with the matchmakers. You got to think that Tom Aspinall is going to be right up there and facing the likes of Augusto Sakai, or Blagoy Ivanov, guys like that, high-level competition. So congratulations to Tom Aspinall, But that heavyweight division, folks, if you look at that top 10, and let's pull out that top 10 right now, So we're just going to pull that up right now. So we pull up the heavyweight top 10, all right, folks? Stipe and Francis will go down in March, yeah? It's going down March, folks. March the 20th, I think, yeah? And then you got Curtis Blades, folks. Now, who does Curtis Blades fight after his loss to Derek Lewis? This is what I was thinking about, folks. First, I was thinking we give Curtis Blades, I was thinking I would actually give Curtis Blades the loser of Gane and Jairzinho, and then I would give the winner of Gane and Jairzinho to Derek Lewis. Or what I'll do is with Derek Lewis is I would give Derek Lewis Alexander Volkov again. Then, folks, if you look at the bottom and you look at the potential matchups for Tom Aspinall to get ranked, or even at the bottom of the rankings, I'll put Walt Harris against Junior Dos Santos. That's number 11 against number 12. I would do You still got Shamil Abdul Rahimov in there. You know, he's at number 8. I would put him against. I'd put him against Alexei Oleinik next. You know, raise his stock. You got Sergei Pavlovich. That heavyweight division, folks, is rising, and it's rising at a fast pace with all these heavyweight fights, all these heavyweight main events. We know that Leon Edwards now, folks, March the 13th will go up against Bilal Muhammad. And folks, if you think about it now, yeah, that's only like 3 weeks away, you know. So this is not going to be, you know, an event. So that's not going to be a main event to miss. We've been waiting for Leon Edwards' return in just over 2 years. So how does that sort of how is that going to impact that welterweight division if Leon wins, if Leon loses? Ranked number 3 right now, you know, he wants to prove that he's not ranked number 3 for nothing. And when you have a guy like Leon Edwards, you know, calls out everyone. Tyron Woodley called out Colby Covington. Was this close for a fight with Colby Covington? You know, he called out Jorge Masvidal, you know, and now he's getting a guy who actually wants to stand in there with him, you know, not Khamzat Chimaev, a guy more deserving than Khamzat Chimaev, a guy who's busted his ass in the UFC, actually faced the toughest and beaten the toughest in Bilal Muhammad. So, folks, that fight, first of all, is going to be crazy. I want to see what kind of shape, Leon Edwards is in. I want to see what sort of, you know, what intensity Bilal Muhammad's going to bring. He's going to be hungry coming in that fight. It's going to raise his stock. He could potentially be top 10, top 3 with that win. He could potentially, not top 3, sorry, a bit of an exaggeration. He could be top 6 if he beats Leon Edwards. That's for sure. Yeah. So, folks, when we see those fights, you know, and of course, Sean O'Malley returns at UFC 260. And Tyron Woodley returns against Vicente Luque. So you got those coming up. But up next, folks, of course, is Cyril Gane and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Folks, before we even talk about the future, let's focus on the now, man. So, folks, we have to, before we focus on the now, yeah, we got to do the particulars. So I'm just going to stay. I'm just going to do the particulars, folks. Keep locked on. Yeah, don't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, folks, so welcome back. We have to do the particulars, of course, to Alan Martinez. So we've got a DM it right now, you know what I'm saying? So, folks, this is, you know, welcome back. Of course, now we're going to just, you know, now we're 6 nights away from Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Cyril Gane. Of course, I'm excited. I'm so excited for what the UFC got coming up with UFC 259, UFC 260. They look huge. They look stacked. You know, UFC 259. Are we going to have 3 new champions? Are we going to have 3 still champions? Are we going to have 2 champions, 1 new champion? Who knows, man? Of course, folks, headlined by Israel Adesanya and Jan Blachowicz in a champion versus champion main event. And Amanda Nunes takes on Megan Anderson, which I think Amanda Nunes is going to beat Megan Anderson, but you never know. Just because yeah, folks, if you put, and I'll talk about that soon as well, folks. So, so now, folks, with Jairzinho Rozenstruik taking on Cyril Gunn, yeah, let's just have a look and see fights on that card. We know Raoni Barcelos, folks, and Randy Brown are both off the card. Raoni was supposed to fight Marcos Rojo, and Randy Brown was supposed to fight Cowboy Alex Oliveira. Raoni Barcelos has COVID-19, and Randy Brown, well, that's not disclosed yet, folks. Why he decided to go off the card. So yeah, folks. So we got a great card here, man. Magomed Ankalaev is back, folks, in the cage in the co-main event. This one is going to be a fight and a half, folks. It is going to be a kickboxing clinic. It could be a wrestling clinic, but who knows? Nikita Krylov versus Magomed Ankalaev. Are you shitting my pants? What co-main? Nikita Krylov, folks, has always been one of my favorite guys to watch at light heavyweight. I think, you know, for a light heavyweight, you know, he's very lean physically, doesn't carry fat, so he moves the way he strikes. You know, very well-rounded, a very hybrid guy. You know, a very well-rounded guy. You know, and I think he has that potential to be number one contender. But there is, of course, light heavyweight division is stacked to high heavens. So then he's just 28 years old, yeah, folks. So, but the thing is, with Nikita Krylov, there is such a huge resume for him, man. He's just beaten Johnny Walker, yeah, folks, in March 2020. He's coming off 2-2 in his last 4 fights, and already has such a great and is already building up a resume. You know, he's beating up guys like Walt Harris. He's beating up, you know, the likes of Cody Donovan, Marcos Rogerio de Lima, Francimar Barroso, Ed Herman, Emmanuel Newton, Fabio Maldonado. He's beating up a lot of guys, bro. You know, and I think this kid is something special, man. I love to watch him. You know, and then when you got Magomed Ankalaev, of course, coming off his 2 great fights with Ion Cutelaba, it is going to be, you know, which were absolutely crazy, man. That first fight, folks, yeah, is going to go down and etched into UFC history. But in that second fight, I think Magomed sort of put all the, you know, speculations, put all the questions behind him, and he beat the hell out of Ion Cutelaba, folks. You know, round 1, 4 minutes 19 seconds in, yeah, bam, yeah, he destroyed him in the second fight. But in the first fight, folks, that's gonna go down in history, man. What a fight that was! And then, folks, as of course the event continues, it only got better, only gets better. Only gets better. Yeah, folks, we got Pedro Munoz and Jimmy Rivera, 2 top 10 bantamweights waiting to go at it. Of course, Pedro Munoz coming off a loss to Frankie Edgar. I'm not sure. Yeah, so Pedro Munoz, folks, was on a 3-fight win streak, racked it up against Brett Johns, Brian Caraway, and Cody Garbrandt. His last 2 fights, folks, if he had won these fights, he would have been number 1 contender. But he lost to Aljo Sterling and took Frankie Edgar to a split decision loss. So, folks, Pedro Munoz, though, is legit. The improvements this guy has made. He's a veteran already, you know. He's trained with Lyoto Machida. So he knows. We all know he knows what he's doing in that cage. He's been a very, very, very good fighter to watch. You know, explosive, unpredictable. He can scrap. He can be technical. Good submissions. Great Muay Thai. You know, good boxing. And then with Jimmy Rivera, folks, he's a hard-nosed, battle-tested vet. You know, stud wrestler. You know, I still go back to his fight with Dennis Bermudez on Tough 14, which was one of the best fights I've ever seen, man. Yeah, it's one of the best fights I've ever seen out of 2 young guys at the time. And now look where Jimmy Rivera is now, folks. You know, he's been kicking ass. He's been knocking on the door of contendership, but it's how stacked that bantamweight division is, and that's what really has done it for Jimmy Rivera. He's not been as consistent as he would have liked. But that doesn't take away from how talented he is. You know what I mean, folks? And when we look at Jimmy Rivera, folks, right now, he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. But his competition is not walking apart. Obviously, Marlon Moraes, Aljo Sterling, Petr Yan. He's beaten John Dodson and Cody Stamann to keep that top 10 rank. He is a legit fighter, folks. Is Jimmy Rivera. When he's on, he's on. When he's not on, you can see the holes. But in my opinion, stylistically, this is a very good fight. It's a very different fight. Pedro Munoz, of course, a guy who can fight anywhere in the pocket from distance, good reach, great jiu-jitsu. So if Jimmy does take him down, Pedro is ready. Or you never know where these guys are going to feel comfortable in the cage. During that fight, you could have a grappler versus striker fight. Who the fuck knows? And then you got a fight, folks, here, which I want you guys to keep an eye on. So Alex Caceres, folks, is back. Alex Caceres is back, folks, here for his 29th professional fight. 29 professional fights for Alex Caceres, folks. He takes on another veteran, 33-fight veteran, in Kevin Croom. Now, you might remember Kevin Croom from his short notice appearance, folks. I think it was a short notice, yeah, short notice appearance against Roosevelt Roberts. Yeah, folks, and it was a draw, overturned. Okay, I don't think it was a she. Yeah, he had a great fight, folks, here with he had a great fight actually with Roosevelt Roberts. Short notice fight, folks, for Kevin Croom, but he actually took Roosevelt to an overturned draw. Folks, and then Alex Caceres. Yeah, folks, he fights Alex Caceres. Now, Alex Caceres just sort of humbled Chase Hooper a little bit in his last fight to return to the octagon. He looks so mature now, folks, and you can see we've seen Alex Caceres grow in the octagon since the Ultimate Fighter. He has been one of the fan favorites for a long time. Yeah, folks, and I think a lot of people know Alex Caceres as this sort of charismatic and dynamic guy, unpredictable on the feet, but he's much more than that. He's shown that, this is not just a game to him anymore. This is not a game, this is his life, and he shows that passion every time he goes into the cage. And with Alex Caceres, folks, I'm excited to see him back against Kevin Croom, veteran versus veteran fight. This one is going to be a great fight to watch, folks, no doubt. I know I think Croom is a good wrestler, actually. Croom, actually, folks, against Roosevelt Roberts, he was striking, man. He was coming forward, I remember. Yeah. Folks, so we got a good fight. We got good fights on this card, man. No doubt about it. The return of Angela Hill. She takes on Ashley Yoder. Yeah, folks, so she takes on Ashley Yoder, man. And that's going to be a good fight in itself. Two scrappy women about to go at it. Two veterans of the UFC about to go at it. Yoder has shown so much improvement, so many good skills in her last few fights. Her wrestling, her jiu-jitsu is so good. She's improved her stand-up a hell of a lot. And I'm excited to see Ashley Yoder go up against Angela Hill in Hill's return. Of course, Angela Hill, folks, returns after a very, what she felt were two controversial losses against Michelle Waterson and Claudia Gadelha, both split decision losses, and Angela Hill felt, she was wronged in those losses. She shouldn't have lost those fights. And if you look at the Claudia Gadelha fight, she shouldn't have lost that fight, folks. She was winning the Claudia Gadelha fight easy, and she should have won that fight. But before those two fights, folks, she was riding high. She was on a 3-fight win streak before that even. Yeah, folks, she was, working her way back, on track. That 3-fight win streak got her back, and now with two fights on the skid. Yeah, folks, can Angela Hill, do once again? Can she get back on the high horse? Former Invicta champion. She was dominant as an Invicta champion. Yeah, folks, can Angela Hill get back on a horse, man? That's what we all want to know. Yeah, folks, well, it's not too long now until SUPERGLUE Alan Martinez joins us, folks. He is heading into his pro MMA debut, which we will talk about at UWC Mexico. Yeah, and that's Alan Martinez right now, folks. Let's go. Hey, Alan Martinez.
Let's go, brother. Let's go.
Wow, he's wearing the shirt, bro.
I have to, man. I gotta support those that support me.
Yeah, come on, brother. Always, man. Always, bro. What's going on, man? Shit, it's been a hot minute out here, bro.
Been a while, man. Been a while.
How you been, man? How's training camp going, bro?
Everything's going good, man. I'm staying healthy, just doing my thing, and trying to stay positive during all this craziness.
Oh man, it is nuts, man. Trust me, it's crazy out here, man. Real uncertain times out here, bro. I mean, bro, for you, yeah, I was thinking about this, in my mind before we started this. I was like, shall I ask Alan, yeah, how's training camp? But it's not really training camp for you, bro, because you're in camp 24/7, bro. You train, you and Johnny are in the gym, you and your guys
every day, all day. The camp's really just more. We just turn it up a little bit, pick up more, maybe do a little more running and all that. But as long as you stay in camp the whole time, like there's times like when you don't have for me, it's been a year. It's already been a year from today. It marks a year literally today since my last fight. So it's kind of interesting how this whole year played out and how like more skilled I got, I feel like. With everything, like even though like the whole thing that's going on in the world, I try putting that aside and just focus on what I can control, which is me.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly, man. I mean, did you have to change anything for training camp, bro, in terms of like your routine, or did you have to cut more?
I added a lot more, more discipline on things, nice. and more time management, because we only get 24 hours, and if you got Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos with the same 24 hours and they're doing what they're doing, and you think about it, I could do the same, like that same type of like the extreme and all the extra. Then why not take advantage of your time? Because there's so many times where I could be on my phone and I'm just like, man, I've been an hour on my phone when I could have done something productive. Sometimes I'm always productive, but then there's, we're human. We end up falling off it. We got to catch ourselves, get back on it.
Definitely, man.
And do our thing.
Definitely, man. You got to take a break too, bro. There's always that time where your body just wants to chill out. But yeah, man, I noticed like from your Instagram, from social media, you've been working your boxing a lot more. Yeah, bro, with Johnny and Bronze Bomber Boxing. It's how does that feel, bro? I mean, to round, was that something you just did for this camp, or have you been sort of building your?
He's kind of like a secret weapon. It's one of those guys that you don't post every time.
Yeah.
But he's in the works with you. And he's family. Our coach, he's known my uncle forever since they were 14. He's been boxing for 30 plus years. Yeah. So this guy and he's been with the greats. He's been with a lot of trainers. So he knows his stuff for boxing. And the thing that helps too is like when you do something so many times and then it just finally clicks for you. Yeah. And recently it's been clicking for me. So I'm really excited to show in this fight, like Brown Bomber Boxing and what my uncle John Munoz has been showing me and everyone at the gym. Yeah. So it's kind of exciting. I'm a little more like, I just want to get in there and show the world what I've been working on. Cause I wish I can fight me last year. The Alan that fought today versus Alan today. Oh
shit.
That'd be a war, but I feel like I would just outclass that guy. My movement, my speed, my power. So I'm excited, man.
I imagine that Alan last year, was King of the Cage flyweight champion, bro. Damn. So you think I can tell, man. That's great to have that type of confidence, bro. It means you know that, hey, Alan, you've been working your ass off for a year, man. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, going to Texas for your wrestling, bro. And I remember speaking to you and Johnny on your way to Texas. I'm like, bro,
you guys going everywhere, man. You guys are
yeah, man. I mean, how did that all start, bro? Going to Texas for wrestling, was that like something long term, or did it start recently, bro, for you guys?
So what's interesting about that is our wrestling, like everyone we work with, we have a relationship with. It's not just someone that we kind of just met and we're like, okay, I think we need to pull them into the team. And that's what I think is so beautiful about our team and the people that we bring around is we've known them for so long. So we know their intentions. And there's certain people that you can bring into a team and they're only there for a camp, and then they're gone until the next camp. But this is year round. We message our coach and all that. So it's a good friend of ours, Neo Chaos Cook. He fought King of the Cage. He was super heavyweight champion. Dude's demolished a lot of people. It's his cousin. And this guy is Olympic level wrestler. He trained at the Olympic Training Center. He managed Henry Cejudo when he won the Olympics in 2008. He's been around with all the greats. He trained with the Russians and everything. So he knows his stuff for wrestling. He's so knowledgeable about wrestling. And I remember my uncle telling me that one time he told her, his name's Jason Conine, and he told him like, hey, one day, you work with my son and help him out. And he even said that too. Like, I want to help one day I want to like give back. I want to help out. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about that. Just one day help out my son with some wrestling. And 2018, it just kind of like, he was in town. He kind of helped us out with a couple things, and he blew our mind, dude, with just the simplicity of the wrestling, angles and positioning. I used to be a guard puller because of jiu-jitsu. I would do double legs and things in the open, but with his expertise and the knowledge he gave us, it was more now upper body stuff, which is more Greco and all that, and the throws. So I feel way more confident when someone touches me and they grab me. I actually like it even more. I'll let people grab me and hold on to me, and then they're going for a ride.
Oh shit! So it's made you so much more comfortable then, Alan. You know what I mean? You had the jiu-jitsu, bro, and that was how the super glue came about. I mean, adding that wrestling dimension to your game, it makes you a lot more comfortable going into the fight, any position, and then also working. So I can tell, bro, you're basically just rounding that whole game. And I guess it's so good for your preparation too, right, bro? I mean, and of course for your long-term future. So skills that you learn here, in Texas and boxing, everyday training, you can use it, bro, and that you can use it for your fights, different positions, different transitions, different angles. It's gonna make you a lot more comfortable in there, man.
Well, I always notice, like, when I watch certain guys that just are jiu-jitsu specialists and then they learn a little bit of boxing, they miss the wrestling. Good example would be like Brian Ortega versus Holloway. He was okay. You would think, okay, gets to the jiu-jitsu part, Brian Ortega is going to get him. But the problem he had was his wrestling. Same with a little bit of the Mackenzie Dern. They're great when it comes to their jiu-jitsu. They got black belts in jiu-jitsu, high level and all that. But if you can't add that wrestling to get your opponent to the ground, what good is your jiu-jitsu?
So true. It's so true, bro. You can't have one without
combine it all.
Yeah, you can't have one without the other, bro. You have to, and this is what I think about a lot of the guys as well. And this is what I have a problem with Mackenzie Dern. And I did think Brian Ortega was the better grappler, and I did think in that fight he was going to use his grappling, bro. But you're right.
A lot of us did.
You're right. Jiu-jitsu, people forget that even if you are a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-jitsu, there's ways that you have to move around it to get them to the ground, And,
yeah, of course. Well, like a lot of guys, they have good wrestling, they get the fight to the ground, but then they miss the jiu-jitsu. And it's like, you got to have all, I mean, there's a sport that you need to know a little bit of everything. Get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, put it into your game, and be a complete fighter. Like another one, a good example is like Aaron Pico.
Yeah.
He has a great, phenomenal wrestling. His boxing's coming around. He was working with Freddie Roach, right? So the thing is, though, his boxing, for boxing to go into wrestling and MMA, when you're setting up your strikes for takedowns, it's smooth. But for him, I noticed he does his wrestling like normal, like it's just a grappling match wrestling. And that's where he gets caught sometimes coming in. So I take notice of these guys, and I watch, and I hear it from teammates too. Oh, did you see that fight? And from our coaches too, they'll tell us like, oh, don't do that. Like I have a coach, he always told me when I come in for a takedown, always have your hands open just in case punches do come, and don't just come in with your chin. And ever since then, I've been working on that, and always keep my hands up when I'm trying to get in. If I can touch you with my hands, then I'll wrap. But if not, then I'm not gonna risk it. There's no point of doing a desperate shot just to get it to the ground because the striking's not working for me. You understand?
Yeah, man, exactly. And I think another example, bro, would be Curtis Blades and Derek Lewis.
A great example.
Here's what I took from that finish, bro. Is I don't know if you noticed it too. So he wasn't at his distance, right, bro? He was at his range. And a guy of Curtis Blades' level experience, and we've seen him world-class wrestling, but we've seen him slam fuckers. And then against Dilu, he didn't time the shot in at all. Yeah, but
I feel like he was getting a little bit frustrated. Like he could have, if he would have played what he did in the first, like the beginning of the first, where he kept his distance. He was leg kicking Derek a lot, and I noticed, okay, that's working for him. So keep doing that. But he wanted to get it to the ground. Of course, you don't want to be with them. If someone has big power, you want to take them where they're not as strong. Yeah. And then if you notice the Dos Santos fight, when people say, oh, he's just a wrestler, but he actually knocked him out. And he did the same thing. He had him against the cage. He just started going off on him. And I figured he was trying to do that a little bit with Derek Lewis, but Lewis is just a different freak, different beast. And the way he has that knockout power. And I like how you said, I've been like, it's the same with when you fight a wrestler, they're going to shoot. If you can time it and expect it, like Jorge Masvidal and Ben Askren, he knew he was going to shoot. So he did the flying knee. This one, he loaded up the uppercut. Yeah. So if you keep that in mind, it's like, you would think, okay, if I need to confuse this guy, I want him to think we're gonna bang, and then do my thing, what I need to do. But it's different when you're in there for sure. You can always have a game plan, but you get hit in the face, it changes a lot of your game plan.
Yeah, definitely, it does, man. It does, and I think the best examples for wrestling, bro, I would say, are Kamaru Usman and Daniel Cormier, bro. If you wanna time distance, and Daniel wasn't the shortest guy, bro. He wasn't the tallest guy.
Yeah, he wasn't the tallest for sure.
Yeah, so when DC would shoot in, he would feint. He was feinting his jab first. Yeah, bro. He would come in, fake a couple of jabs, and he would shoot his double leg. And that's what I think Curtis Blades needed to do. Second round, Dilu know that Curtis Blades would either continue to strike or go for the shot straight away.
Yeah,
he should have set it up, bro. And I think that's where playing your range and playing your pace comes into it,
I noticed too, like if you're trying to like have someone mimic a fighter, you can only mimic a fighter. You can't be that fighter. So you can assume he's going to do this, but then night of the fight, it could change. Like everyone's like, oh, this guy's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. For me, it's like they're going to be like, oh, he's going to go to the ground. I'm like,
oh, for sure. Yeah,
for sure, we're going to go to the ground.
But no one knows what you got in store, and they were even with Tom Aspinall, yeah, bro. Another great example, bro, with unpredictability. Everyone thought Tom Aspinall was just this knockout artist, and he was teeing the shit out of Andrei Arlovski. Yeah, bro. His hand speed was crazy,
especially for heavyweight.
Exactly, bro. But that's the thing, yeah, is that he's not like any other heavyweight. Heavyweights, now are just like, they're soft, look like they've been munching KFC, but he doesn't look like that, he's lean, trains with Darren Till, so and when he was teeing off, Alan, he set those punches up, he timed every shot, and then nobody expected him to wrestle.
No, not at all. They were just expecting, well, especially when you think of heavyweights, you're thinking, okay, they're gonna just bang it out.
Yeah, exactly, man. But that's another prime example, bro. You know, and it's all about timing. You know, and I think that is probably the most vital part of any wrestler's game, right? Is timing your takedowns, timing your movements. You know, but for you, Alan, bro, it's your first professional, right, bro? Your first pro fight. I remember we were talking about your record the first time, and it's not on paper, yeah, but it doesn't reflect what it is in now. You know, it's 4-0 now, right, bro?
Of course.
And then how do you feel coming into the first pro fight? You know, but coming off the amateur scene, you're at King of the Cage. You basically climbed your journey up, bro. Became champ. You were gonna go for the King of the Cage amateur bantamweight championship as well. But how do you feel, man, coming into the professional ranks?
I feel pretty grateful, blessed that there's an opportunity to have shows. So UWC, I'm really fortunate for them to be able to put on shows during this crazy time. Yeah. And then now that they got the deal with the UFC Fight Pass, that's kind of like a big thing, because I've always like I watched like the fights, and when they had Fight Pass guys, I'm like, okay, cool. And I would never guess I'd be on the UFC Fight Pass. Like, it just didn't cross my mind at all. And I've always thought about being worldwide, but this is worldwide now. Anyone from around the world could download the app, tune in, and they can watch. So it's exciting, humbling, and I'm just ready to go, man. I feel strong. I feel good. My head's in a good space. My family's good. My team's good. So I'm kind of fortunate right now.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad to hear that. You know, and then you ended your amateur career on top, man. So you must be riding high. You know, you were. I know you're never overconfident. You know, bro, but you must have been like, you know, I deserve that pro fight. You know, I wore it down.
Well, I feel like, because even with my jiu-jitsu career and everything, and winning multiple world championships and everything, I'm not one to glorify the past.
No, definitely.
I kind of like, even my King of the Cage belt, like, I don't even put it up, you know, like in my room to see it every day. I put it in the closet, and it's just somewhere in there. Wow. Same with all my medals. There's some medals I can't even find right now. I'm like, where is that medal at? And it's just because, for me, I always look ahead, because I don't want to glorify the past and be one of those guys, you know, back in the day, I was so-and-so. Okay, but what are you today, you know? Why can't you do something that's going to be able to, like, you could tell someone like, oh, you know, back in the day, I was a high school Olympic or this and that. I was a high school champ in this, or I did jiu-jitsu and I was this. Okay, but what are you doing today? At least if you can change it, like, oh, now I coach, or now I help other people become champions. Then it's like, okay, I put respect on that. But when you get guys going, oh yeah, back in the day, I used to wrestle a little bit, or I used to be this, and back in high school, and they're 40 years old. And I'm like, shoot, that was over 20 years ago, bro. So what have you done within those 20 years now? And so for me, I don't really glorify the past on that, but I do take the confidence with me for sure. Winning fights and winning tournaments and all that, I take that with me to the next part, but I never underestimate my opponent. I always put it in my head that this is like always a world-class guy. He could be someone just right off the streets, and I always put it in my head, that's a bad dude. That guy knows this, he knows that. So I need to be on my toes. I need to be ready. I put some nerves in me, because you're always nervous for anything you do, like fights, or interviews, going to work. You have to meet somebody, you got a lunch date with somebody, you get nervous, and that keeps you on your toes to watch what you say, so you don't just ramble and say something wrong. And for me, when it comes to fights, I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna walk through everybody and do this and that, because what happens when you have the adversity? I'm a big believer on, every time you set a goal, there's going to be some type of adversity to check you. How bad do you want that goal done? So I always look for that. I look for the adversity, and I accept it. So in fights, like my last fight, I got taken down twice. And for me to get taken down, it's like, that guy must have like been good. And the guy I fought on the last fight, he's a good wrestler, solid wrestler. So like I fell into a couple of those little traps that he set up for me, which were smart for him. And when I fell into it, I was in my head in the fight. I'm like, this is my adversity. This is what I need to overcome right now, and I'll win this fight. So I always look at that. Even in fight week, like there's going to be adversity, whether it be a weight cut issue or because I'm going to TJ Tijuana, I'm not at home, you know, I'm not able to just be in my own bed and all that stuff. So being able to having to travel, it takes you out of your element. But I accept it because I've traveled for jiu-jitsu tournaments. I mean, I traveled to Reno for the last fight. I went to Parker for my second fight. So there's a couple little things like that. You just learn to embrace it. And it's one of those things too that you don't want to fall into the whole, I need to be on my bed. I need to do this. I need to be comfortable. You need to get used to being uncomfortable and accept it for what it is. Because that's what it's supposed to feel like.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's what life of a fighter is like, you know what I mean, bro? You can't be shook of this and shook of that. I mean, I think, you know, bro, and I said this on my last show as well, bro, is that it takes different guys different amounts of time to get used to you know, certain shit, you know. And I think even if it's your first pro fight, you know, bro, your first amateur fight, or you're just getting into the sport, or hey man, I'm a black belt in karate, let me go try MMA. You know, everyone is gonna feel a certain amount of pressure before, after the fight, wherever. And I think it takes different guys a different amount of time to get used to different stuff. Yeah, but I mean, when you think about it, you're you know, traveling to Mexico, I was gonna ask you this later, bro, but I'll ask you now. As you know, I see the Mexican flag right there, man. You know, Viva la Raza. But when, you know, as a Mexican American, yeah, bro, and of course, traveling to Mexico for your first pro fight, how proud does that make you feel, man? Because you're representing your heritage in Mexico, you know, bro.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Pretty exciting because I've always like I want to fight in Mexico. That's like for someone that's Mexican American, because don't get me wrong, I'm a proud American. I love where I'm at, but I know the struggles my ancestors had to go through and all that. So I look at that, it's in my blood, it's in my DNA. So within me, I'm Mexican, but on the outside, they're gonna be like, oh, he's just an American guy. So going into Mexico to fight, and I'm fighting a guy from Mexico. So I already have the idea that they're probably telling him, well, he's American. He's this and that. He's probably never struggled like you. And trying to get that guy like, oh yeah, you're right. But everyone has their struggles. Anywhere in the world, you have your struggles. So it's just one of those things that you need to just learn to accept for what it is. But don't get me wrong, I'm a proud American. But I do know where my family comes from, and a lot of times I know what's in my DNA and in my blood. So I got to represent. And when I fight in there, I have a switch. And once I turn that on, I feel like I just tap into that. I tap into the warrior spirit, the Aztec blood that's in me, and I go full glue.
Full glue, man.
Full glue, baby.
Oh man, y'all better watch out for that, man. Full glue. Yeah, boy. And you know, bro, I think you know, heritage is such a big part of sport in general. Being able to represent your home, your roots, you know, your motherland. That is the best thing. You know, every time I go back to India, I know how proud I feel. And yeah, man, I guess how, you know, of course, with Combate Americas, and you have UWC now, bro, in Mexico. How do you feel about how, you know, Latin MMA has evolved? You know, bro.
Oh man, I was just telling someone about this too. How like boxing itself and Mexico's big, right? You got the Julio Cesar Chavez. You have all these great boxers out there, and but then you think about the whole like MMA. That's a whole different beast. And there's not too many gyms out there, you know. So they're like Mexico City in the capital of Mexico. You're gonna find their gyms more. It's like going to LA or any of the big cities. You'll find a lot of the gyms. But when you go to the smaller little pueblas and the smaller towns, you might not find it there. So now it's slowly starting to evolve out there, and MMA is getting on the map in Mexico. So it's one of those things I noticed too, like with Brandon Moreno fighting for the belt. He put Mexico on the map with that. Obviously, Cain Velasquez being the heavyweight champion at the time, and all that. So it puts eyes on there. And then you got the Yair Rodriguez and all that. So it helps for those guys to get the name out. That be like MMA is evolving in Mexico. It's growing, and that's one thing I want to do too is give back out there, because there's so much like knowledge that I have in my head. I want to be able to spread it to the world. And why not start? Obviously, I want to start in the United States, and I've been doing that. But now I want to expand, and let's start going south, and we'll go Mexico, we'll build there, and then we'll push even more down south, and we'll get to Southern America, and we'll help the Latinos in general, and then we'll go worldwide and help everyone. So that's my goal.
Come on, man. That's how it is. That's how it is, man. That's pride, man. That's passion. You know, that's how it is, man. That's how it's supposed to be, 100%. You know, and you know, how do you feel about, you know, those, you know, how do you feel about Latino fighters and Latina fighters, you know, having that platform to having those platforms, you know, UWC and Combate, you know, to showcase, you know, their talents. You know, how do you feel about those promotions showcasing Latin talent and for what it is?
You know, I mean, it's a blessing to be able to see it, you know, like to see it grow, and for them to put on the shows, like also Lux, they push a lot of Latino and Latina fighters. It's pretty interesting, because during this time there shouldn't be any shows, you know. No. And these guys are making it happen, and even before that they're still able to make it happen and all that, and to be able to put them on the map and give them a platform, let them just try it, like let them show the world what they can do, and be surprised. We got a lot of energy and a lot of excitement to show the world, and it's a lot of like heritage that you have within you, and the culture is beautiful. So it's being able for them to put on a show and to promote those fighters and give them a shot, you know, because everyone has their daily struggles. Third world countries are a little more than where we're at, and to give them that shot to go be viral or to make money for their family and support people like that. They're awesome. They're great.
Yeah, man. And then, you know, I guess we see it, you know, and you know, the UFC is still being represented by great Latino fighters, you know, like we said, you know, with Yair and you know, and then we saw John Castaneda, you know, all these young guys coming in, you know, and displaying and putting their heritage on the map, you know, and even African guys too, bro, with Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman, France, and culture, bro.
Culture, brother, yeah.
Culture is just huge, bro. You know, and like you said with boxing, bro, and Latino fighters in boxing, Latinos right now in boxing, bro, are the best, yeah, of all time. That shit, bro, you cannot beat.
That Moreno fight, that's a prime example.
Moreno fight,
he was cracking him. He was getting good shots on him. He hurt him a couple times.
Yeah, man.
And Davison probably thought he was gonna walk right through him, because Moreno, looking at him, he'd be, oh, he's childish. But man, that guy has heart. He's a warrior. He ain't gonna back down from anything. He gave him a war, 5-round war. So you can't count out a Mexican. When you're gonna fight a Mexican, you better be ready to fight him to the death, pretty much.
And then, you know, you had Oscar Valdez, you know, with the knockout, you know, and still WBC featherweight champ.
WBC champ, yep. That was a nice, oh, man, that was clean.
That was sweet.
That was clean. He almost like he walked right into it.
he ducked the first punch. Yeah, boy, and he come back with the left hook. That was sweet shit, man.
Yeah, perfect shot.
And then you have Tio Lopez. You know, you got Ryan Garcia.
Boy, oh yeah, for sure.
So many guys, man. You know, and yeah, I guess mixed martial arts is following suit. You know, bro. Damn right, Santiago.
It's about time for them to, you know, because I get it. Boxing's been around since the beginning, right? And with all these different promotions and all the money running through it, MMA is relatively new still. I mean, the 90s and all that for MMA to be on the map, and it's only been like 30 years. So you got 30 years plus 100 years. Which one's going to be more relevant? Not in a sense relevant, but more notice and more attention. And when you have it's a human nature to have fight within us. From back in the day, everyone had to fight to survive and all that. So it's one of those things that people enjoy and watch fighting, and to be able to put it on the map like that for the UFC and them to be able to do what they're doing in all these smaller promotions, to be able to host MMA fights and just try to help people change their lives, and also put some food in their family's belly.
Hey,
at
man,
the end of the day.
That's the main thing. That's the main thing, brother. You know, with with yourself coming up, you know, Johnny Munoz, well, you know, and you know, guys like Jerome Rivera, you know, this is not over right now, man. You know, like you said, boxing been around forever. You know, bro, and as MMA evolves, as the years go on, and we see it evolve now, bro. You know, the new generations coming in. You know, most of them are Latin guys. You know, most of them are Latinas, and Latin fighters. It's amazing to see, man. You know, Alexa Grasso. You know, that's what I'm saying, man. It's just it is a phenomenon right now. You know, then you have these guys. You know, if you're Mexican American or you're an African American, you know, bro. And I remember reading something with when Kamaru Usman beat Gilbert Burns, and it was you know, a champion from a South African promotion. Yeah, bro, Themba Gorimbo, and he said to Kamaru Usman that you're not a real African. You haven't been through the same struggles. You know, I'm from Zimbabwe. I've been through it all. You know, how do you feel when you see something like that? You know, and you see a guy from your same fucking culture, you know, just hate on you like that.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because Johnny was just telling me that he was watching an interview quite recently, and it's about Mexicans from Mexico talking about Mexican Americans and how they view them. Same concept with the Kamaru, and what they say, and it's kind of interesting because at the end of the day, if you're like me, I'm representing Mexico right here. I'm showing it, right? But don't get me wrong, I'm proud to be an American, but when it comes to that, when they get like, oh, well, he's Americanized, or he's this and that, and like when you're from that third world country and you come to, whether it be another country to get opportunities that help your family, they always look at it as like, you're a traitor. You didn't stick with us in the struggle. But it's like, why? I don't think we were made to struggle in this world. We're made to be successful in anything we do if we put our mind to it. And I feel like people get manipulated and brainwashed by their surroundings to be like, this is all we're able to have. We can't have any more because this is where we're put in this life. But you're not a tree. You're not stuck to the ground. You can move. You can go everywhere. You can travel. Try traveling and then see. Like my uncle always says this too. You want to be able to see the world, see other cultures. You appreciate what you have. So it's kind of interesting when you hear Mexicans say, well, they're not real Mexicans. It's like, okay, well, that's your opinion, and everyone has an opinion. So I don't take it to heart. That's one big thing I've been working on past few years, and mainly this year the most, is when someone tells me something like, oh, you're not this, you're not that, that's what they're telling me. They're telling me their own belief of themselves, and they're putting it onto me. And I'm like, oh, okay. So in my head, I just look at it, okay, that's what you believe, but your belief isn't my belief. So when it comes to what I think, I can say, like, I always, like, if someone's like, oh, you're not a good fighter, in my head, the last thing I heard was, I'm a great fighter. I switch it. I reprogram myself. I don't let no negativity sit in my head. I don't want to go to sleep with it. So you can tell me this and that. It's like, okay, that's your opinion. I respect your opinion, but I agree to disagree.
Yeah, man. No, hell yeah. For sure, bro. I mean, those people that say that, they don't know you as a person, you know? So how the hell are you gonna judge, you know? And Kamaru Usman, Israel, Francis, yeah, bro. If Francis, you can't say shit to that guy, bro. That guy was born and bred. He lived that life. Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, if you're, you know, and I remember, I come across these guys quite a bit, bro. You know, and guys that sort of judge you before they get to know you, and it's not the way to go, man. You know, you have to be open minded with whoever you meet. You know, unless unless it's someone I don't like. You know, that's a different story.
You don't like them, I don't like them.
I mean, bro. I mean, if we switch the gear and you know, if we switch the political gear, you know, fight nights lately, Alan, have been riddled with controversy, aftermath. You know, people don't talk about it. You know, fans only talk about, oh, he knocked him out, he knocked him out. But as of late, a lot of referees have come under scrutiny. We saw it with Corey Sandhagen and Frankie Edgar. Then we saw it with Julian Arosa and Nate Landwehr. You know, Gabriel Green and Philip Rowe. We saw it in a lot of fights, you know. But and I think if you're, first of all, man, I just want to ask, if you're a referee, yeah, Alan, and you see, I want to talk about, you know, stoppages first. Pretend you're a referee. Put yourself in that shoe, bro. I know you've ref jiu-jitsu tournaments.
I'll mention that again.
Yeah. And then, you know, put yourself back in the referee uniform, bro. How do you feel as a ref? What goes through your mind when you're, you know, in the fight, two guys in front of you going at it? What is your initial thought?
So you gotta respect referees. That is a tough job. You never know what they're going through in their life, and they're trying to, you know, do a job. So like for me, watching grappling and then watching and having if I have to imagine refereeing fighting, obviously a little different when it comes to the strikes and all that. But when I watch grappling matches and I'm refereeing it, I'm only looking out for the participant's safety. And then you want to give them a chance. Like I referee kids and adults, and we're told with kids, if an armbar is straight, you got to stop it right away, just for safety reasons. And I always tell the kid too, like, hey, this is, you know, for you to compete another day. You don't want to be in a cast for 6 months. And obviously it's different for MMA because you could let it break. And actually for the adults, they tell you if they don't tap, just let it go. And I'm watching people's arms and their legs when they get knee barred, and I'm like, oh wow, like this is gonna go. And I kind of want to be there to stop it, but I can't. And there was one time I actually did stop it, and the guy really got upset. He was like, hey, I didn't tap. And I'm like, honestly, bro, because I just got done doing a kids match. So in my head, I had that, you know, like stop a straight arm bar. And I think there were 16, so I was able to let them go more. But it was so tight, the arm, and the guy even took it off the side of his hip. So you know it was meant to snap if he kept going. And when I stopped it, it was, and then even the biggest thing when you referee, especially when there was the time when I was reffing, there was people there, an audience. If they go, yeah, like, okay, yeah, or sometimes they go, boo, come on, ref, you should have let it go. But it's different because I've coached my guys, and sometimes I get mad at the ref, but then I got to humble myself. And I was just in that guy's shoes 5 minutes ago before I jumped off the mat to go coach. So I always got to be like, I gotta respect their call. And sometimes, you know, referees, they're not perfect. They make bad calls, but if you keep making the bad call, then it's okay. I think we need to change this ref. Like a good example, Mario Yamasaki, letting fights go too long, and they got to change out the ref eventually. And then maybe if they, you know, they could come back to different leagues and all that. And the big show, you don't want to mess up. And it's nervous. You're nervous in there when you got all the eyes on you. You're in control of that fight pretty much. Yeah, it's the fighters going in there, but you have a big say-so what happens. Like there's times I stop the match because the guy's bleeding. That gives the other guy time to rest. And now they can be like, oh, but why'd you stop it? It's like, oh, there's blood or this and that. And I've had it where I've refereed my own students and my teammates. And I'm really good at refereeing my own teammates because I still count the time. I still do everything right. But it's like, I don't want to give them that whole like, oh, he's from his team, he's letting them he's giving him more time on this, or he's over exaggerating the count, or he's not counting sweeps right away for the other guy, but he does it right away for his guy. And so I always humble myself and I always tell my guys, I can't do anything to help you because you're on your own here. I'm just here doing my job, and if I help you, then that doesn't give me credibility. And then the boss is always watching, and someone's watching. They're always filming you. So you got to be on your toes, and I feel for Herb sometimes because he'll have a fight where it's like it goes too late, and then he has a fight where it goes too soon, and it's like, where's the happy medium? But then again, that's a tough job. So I give respect to these referees, but the judges, on the other hand, now that's a different story.
Judges can kiss my ass as far as I'm concerned. You know, you talk about Herb Dean, bro, and Herb was on that. I remember I don't know if you remember, bro, when we had the Triple Threat podcast with you, me, and Johnny. We were talking about
judges, yes.
Yeah, and we talk about how Paul Felder went at Herb Dean. I can't remember what fight it was, but he went at Herb Dean. you know,
like, come on, man, stop the fight, or what are you doing? Why are you letting it go? Same with Dan Hardy.
Yeah.
Stop the fight. And then you got Dana making the whole thing. Like, if you argue with the referee or do something like that, you're off the roster. You're eliminated. You're not going to work for me. So he had to put that foot down, because even Dana knows, like, with the referees, it's a tough job. He knows what they're kind of doing. But when you do the same thing over and over and over again, it's like someone calling you a liar. The first time you're going to be like, hey, bro, like, don't ever put that on my name. Don't talk about me like that behind my back or this and that. But if you got 20 people calling you a liar, you got to check what's going on, bro. You got to check what you're saying.
Definitely, man. And same thing, bro, with Mark Smith as well. You know, there were 2 times, bro, now where Mark Smith has been put under scrutiny. It was the Julian Erosa flying knee, you know, against Nate Landwehr, I think. And I'll tell you what, bro, and I remember he was refereeing the Frankie Edgar fight as well, against Corey Sandhagen. That knockout, bro, has got it could have been in his mind at the time of the Julian Erosa fight. So whenever he saw another flying knee,
yeah,
he must have been
he was quick to take action on it.
Exactly. He's like, fuck, you know, I'm not gonna let it go that long anymore.
Yeah, because as referees, when I remember matches, not detailed in the match, but you put me back in that situation, it'll click for me, like, oh shoot, I remember one time I stopped it too early here, or one time I this. So I got to make sure I let it go a little more, give them a fighting chance. But when it's too much, then you got to stop it, or something. If people scream, that's another thing. A lot of people scream, like they get excited or they're doing something, they scream. But if you're caught in a submission and you scream, that's a verbal tap. And certain people, they it doesn't process in the moment, and they, oh, I didn't tap, and I'm like, but you screamed. Oh, but I was working to get out of it. Like, you're getting armbarred or choked. You're like, oh, get out of it. It's like, nah, it's a verbal tap, buddy. I'm sorry. And maybe now you lose, and use it all as a lesson. Use it all as a lesson. Don't waste a mistake. That's an opportunity to grow.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man. And you were talking about kids before, man. I remember when I was doing Muay Thai, and these 2 kids were sparring, bro. And you know, the other students, they sort of make a circle. And I was the oldest guy in the group, you know, and I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, these guys, they were beating the shit out of each other, you know, bro. And I was all right, cool, man. If the coach ain't gonna stop it, I'll stop it myself. Yeah. So I actually went in there and actually pulled the kid off. You know, like he, because you know, one kid was better than the other, and they were like 12 years old, you know. But I was like, nah, you know, he's gonna get hurt, you know, bad. He leg kicked him and they threw a knee. I think he clinched him. He threw a knee, boy, and it hit the other kid in the face. And I was like, nah, no, we're not gonna.
Training, right?
Yeah, man. It was in training, yeah, man. And I was like, nah, man, we're not gonna have that at all ever, bro. Yeah.
Were they upset with you, or did anyone try?
I wasn't upset. I had to explain it to him afterwards. I had to explain it to a coach after why I did that. And yeah, man, because I was watching it, but I was like, fuck that. I'm not gonna do that, you know. But
I'm not gonna stand by and just watch this happen. And
yeah, exactly.
That guy get teed off, and they're only 12.
No, exactly. And I was
they got a whole life ahead of them.
And plus, but I couldn't spar at the time because
were you gonna spar 12-year-olds?
No, I wasn't gonna spar 12-year-olds. No, man. I couldn't spar at the time because I didn't have the. I was only starting out at the time, yeah. So I didn't have my shorts or any gear with me, you know. But and yeah, man, I just thought, shit, you know, I'm just gonna stop that shit. But you know, I that's the thing as well, you know, when you're refereeing, and you know, we go back to mixed martial arts, or we go back to grappling, you know, when you're a referee, yeah, and the other part of refereeing is low blows, you know. We saw a lot of scrutiny come under from low blows, from the Gabriel Green fight, and we saw it in the fight. There was another fight last Saturday as well, bro, with low blows, and I was like, oh man, oh no, it was in the Derek Lewis fight as well with the eye pokes, yeah, but and where would you draw the line, bro? If you were reffing a fight, you saw 4 low blows, 3 low blows, or 2-3 eye pokes, where would you draw the line and start taking points, man?
So for me, like in grappling tournaments, that's what I could speak on as refereeing those is when I see like low blows happen, I'm like, okay, well, when you watch it, okay, and you gotta put yourself in their position too. Like, are they really hurt, or are they trying to use that as a tactic to get more time, to get a little breather or something? But when it's an eye poke and you can physically like watch the replay and you see it go in the eye, like the Daniel Cormier fight, how his eye was all busted after the Stipe fight with the eye poke. And most of the time it's not on purpose, but when you do it over and over and over again, it's just like, okay, you're making, it's not just an accident. Now you're making a decision to do this. And the interesting thing about low blows, because of the cups, so you hit high thigh and you move the cup, it can hit you there and you're going to feel it. But if some guys, like a good example, that Johnny Munoz fight. So it's like, we watched that fight, maybe one or two was in there that were a little like, okay, but they're, man, like high thigh, it's like, you just, some people just know how to play a good acting role, so it's a tough call to make. You want to give the benefit of the doubt, of course, to the fighter and make sure they're okay to fight. You don't want to set them up and like, no, keep fighting, and then they're really hitting the nuts, and that's a painful thing to be going through, and you feel it in your stomach and you're like, you can't really breathe right, or an eye poke and you can't see, like Yair and Jeremy Stevens.
The eye poke.
So a bunch of those, when you know it's really bad, you want to give the guy the full time to recover, to be able to have a fair fight. But when the guy keeps doing it after you warning him, obviously it's a referee discretion, but if it just keeps going, you got to take that point. But you got to also look at the other guy and see, like, hey, like if you ever notice on fights when they get hit in the nuts or an eye poke and they say keep going, that guy forgets about the nut shot and the eye poke and they keep going. So if you can do that, then I don't understand sometimes, like, was it real or not? Because if they say, okay, continue, keep going, no, continue, and the guy just snaps out of it all of a sudden, his low blow doesn't hurt and his eye's all fixed, like, okay, bro, I think you were just trying to use a tactic here.
They do it as well, bro. They fake it because they want to rest as well. If you see it, Alan, most of these guys fake this shit because they're fatigued. Yeah, bro. I know. Oh man, I remember when Gabriel Green was fighting Philip Rowe, yeah, bro, in a UFC 258, and Gabriel was ripping his body, yeah, bro. It was a huge height difference, and he hit Phil just here, yeah, bro, just below, just above the belt, and Phil goes to the ref. Nah, he hit me low, but Phil was going like this, yeah, but he was proper fatigue, and I didn't think he would. I didn't think. I was like, boy, you're off your.
Especially when they show you the replay, because like heat of the moment, you watch and you go, oh shoot, did I miss it? Like maybe it was a low blow, and then you watch the replay and you go, come on, dude, you got hit in the liver, bro. That's why you're feeling like your stomach hurts.
It doesn't look like you got hit low, We saw it with Volkov and Overeem as well. Volkov hit that left roundhouse kick, yeah. Oh man, it could have clipped the box, but from where it was, he hit the side of his hip, and you never really know, man. I guess you gotta go by how the fighter reacts, right?
Oh, of course, because if they don't react to it, then keep the fight going. But they react to it, obviously, time, check them. Hey, you okay? Everything good? And then let them bang again.
Definitely, man. Shit, and then Alan, the other scrutiny, is the other guys who go through scrutiny are the fighters themselves. But where before a fight, what do you do before a fight, man? Why do you do training camp? You do it for not only to make weight, but you do it for improvement as well. And weight cutting, Alan. I don't know if you notice, like 5 guys didn't make weight for UFC Vegas 19.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Bro,
were they all drinking the same thing?
Yeah, man. They were drinking the Kool-Aid or something, bro. UFC Vegas 19. Yeah, well, headlined by Derek Lewis and Curtis Blades. Yeah, injuries. All right, cool. I'm cool. But you missed weight by 12 pounds. Yeah.
Oh, that was something else. Because the only other person that did that was Anthony John. I think it's Anthony Johnson.
Anthony Johnson.
And that was when he was making 170s, and he always had an issue making the weight. And when he finally, that's where you got to tell yourself, okay, I'm cutting all this weight, I'm doing this, and if it's not working for you, you got to move up a division. If it's not healthy for you, and you feel like you can't can't get to the weight, just go up. Like it worked for Anthony Johnson. He went to light heavyweight. He became a monster in there because he was able to actually have nutrition in him and all the good stuff in his body that he needed. And when you go in 170 for him, that's like 35 pounds different what he's weighing when he fights now, like at 205. But he was probably walking around 220, cutting 40, 50 pounds probably. So he's a bigger dude, bigger frame. But for these guys not making weight, it's especially professional, especially UFC. Exactly. Like I understand if it's a smaller show. I mean, even then you still got to do what you got to do and make weight, of course. But when it comes to like, this is a big show. You know how many people want your spot in the UFC? Not many fighters out of all the fighters in the world have that opportunity to be in the UFC, the big show, the headliners, and you don't make weight. It's like Israel Adesanya once said, it was 90% of the purse. If you take 90% of the guy's purse and you give it to the other guy because they didn't make weight, I bet you they'll make weight, because people are fighting to feed their family, so they're gonna sacrifice. They're gonna be more disciplined.
Yeah, bro, and you know, you're right. How many other guys want your spot, you know, on the roster? And you know, an interesting thing I wanted to ask you was when you were competing on the amateurs, was there a big thing about weight cutting, or was it, you know, like whatever, I'll give you 2-3 pounds, it's cool?
Actually, for amateur, I believe the point didn't matter when it came to a non-title fight. Okay. So you're always given a pound allowance. Usually 9 out of 10, you're given a pound allowance. So for me, making 125 or 135 when I was doing those that division, I was able to be 136. I'm able to be 126. But when you go above that, and it's like for amateur circuit, if I was 136.5 or 136.9 and it wasn't a title fight, the point didn't matter, at least for depending on the commission, of course, what states you're in, because they all got different rules and all that and regulation. But that's the only difference. And I remember for my title fight, I weighed in 126.4. And I tried telling them, like, hey, you know, the point doesn't count, right? And they're like, oh, no, it's a title fight. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I was like, no problem. And me and my uncle were like, oh, we'll make the weight. We don't want no handouts. We don't want no leverage. Like, oh, here, we're going to benefit you guys. You're fine. So, and then it's funny because I weighed 126.4. And then I go to the restroom, give you a minute to let it come out. And then I'm 126.2 with my underwear on. And I was, oh, shoot, I'm solid then. I just got to take this off, and then I'll be good. And the guy's like, oh, no, you're good. And my uncle's like, no, we're going to make the weight. We don't want to have this in our record. Like, oh, well, we gave him a chance. Oh, they were 0.2 over. We don't want to have that. And what's funny is that my opponent, Victor Sindor, he was 126.4 as well when he came in. Oh, and I was like, oh, how interesting is this? And the promoter for that fight, not the promoter, but the matchmaker for that fight was telling him, like, it was his former coach. And I was like, tell him to cut the weight, make him cut it. Like you told me, go cut it. Dude went for a run. He even shaved his head. He had to go the extreme. And that plays a big factor for sure. Cause you're thinking like, okay, I'll be fine when I get there. And you're not, because scales can always be miscalculated and not calibrated correctly. So it's very important to test that scale if you can, few days before, if they have it there, or the day before. And if you have your own scale, and you kind of like, okay, that's a pound lighter. That's a pound heavier. Okay, I just got to adjust for it. Or I got to sacrifice another hour. And I noticed too, like for me, everyone's body is different, but I need a few hours before that weigh-in to get my weight down. If I need that extra few hours from the last time, if it went like, because when I went to Reno, I only had about an hour, I would say, maybe a little over the cut weight. And for me, I was at 130 catch weight. And I was like, okay, because we were aware of the 130 catch weight, but when I had to lose the weight and I was doing it, I noticed, I was like, maybe I needed a little bit more time, but I ended up making the weight fine. But if you got to do that, you got to know your body. So instead of starting at 8 a.m. when you have to weigh in at 12, you got to wake up at 6 a.m. You got to wake up at 5 a.m. Start the weight cut, get it down, have it ready. Yeah, it's more of a sacrifice, but you signed up for this. No one forced you. A good word of advice my uncle always tells me: no one put a gun to your head for this. You chose to do this.
Hell yeah, man. 100% right, bro. And when you choose to come into a sport like this, yeah, bro, or live boxing or any physically demanding sport, yeah, bro, number one is commitment. Yeah. Number two is professionalism. Bro, if you ain't gonna if you're gonna come in, yeah, and you're gonna come hungover, or you're gonna come 20 pounds over, or you're gonna come high, or you're gonna come on cocaine or whatever, yeah, it's bullshit, bro.
Or TRT.
TRT, bro. Vitor Belfort or Alistair Overeem. You know what? And I guess you especially if you're a young fighter, but you learn from it as time goes on. I don't. I think. I do think, bro. Yeah, all that TRT stuff and EPO.
EPOs, yep.
EPO. I think
Stem cell stuff they do.
But Alan, yeah, boy, if you're T, and we know how TJ Dillashaw looked in that fight, bro. He didn't look like he had a good weight cut.
He never got tired in his last recent fights. When you don't know they were on EPO and they were on something, you look at him like, man, this guy's just a freak. Yeah. Man, he prepared so well for this. Then you find out they're on that, and then it kind of like discredits all their hard work in a sense. Even though they did put in a lot of hard work. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to judge them and say they didn't, because everyone in this sport, you got to sacrifice, you got to put in the work, of course. But when you find out they use that stuff, and if it's legal, it's legal. If it's not legal and you're choosing it and you're not getting caught, you can't do something in the dark and think you're going to be fine when the light comes on you. Yeah, definitely. That's I'm a big believer on that. What you do in the dark, you'll be exposed in the light. So when I'm in the dark and I make sure I'm doing everything correctly and I say no to certain things, like like I had a family get together over for the UFC fight, and it was my uncle Ivan's birthday party. Even though his birthday was in January, my aunt Claudia, they had their parties, and we, we're always busy and everything. So we planned it. We had a lot of people come over, and my grandma made birria. It's a good Mexican food. And I was looking at everyone eating, people bringing chips and this and that. And I'm like, man, there's another adversity for my goal I set to fight for this fight. And so there's the adversity. And it's funny because like I look at all that stuff and I'm like, when you can't, it's human nature. When you can't have something, you want it. But every time I weigh in and I make my weight and I fuel up with fluids, like I'm full, that's the last thing I'm thinking about is eating crappy food or food that's not good for my body. Of course, after the fight, I'm going to be eating some of it, but it doesn't become a priority. Like I need to be eating this. Like right after, like me and Johnny always laugh about it when we see guys post on their Instagram or Facebook story after they weigh in, they eat pizza and ice cream. And if it works for you, hey, more power to you. But there's a reason why certain people don't make it to that high level, because they're doing things in the dark, or even if they post about it and they think, oh, I could get away with this because I'm just a freak of nature. It's going to catch up to you. And I'm a big believer that God will expose you in certain areas of your life if you do things around, like not straightforward. You do things behind people's back, or you're doing some shady stuff. Like like no one's watching what I do 24/7, but if I'm eating like crap and I still make the weight, it's going to catch up to me. I know it. It has to. That's just the way this world works. And because you're going to have that in the back of your head, like even when you lose, you always like I've lost jiu-jitsu tournaments and I've questioned it. Okay, what did I do wrong here? What was my preparation wrong? Maybe he was just better than me. And a good example for me, which is a blessing in disguise, I believe it was 2019 in February. I competed in a jiu-jitsu tournament, and there's a lot of adversity I had in that day. I happened to forget my brown belt for the tournament, and we were in San Diego. Luckily, my sponsor, CK Fight Life, they had their booth there, and I was able to get a belt from them there. But it was a brand new belt. If you ever see belts and they're brand new, they're always bigger than the guy. It's a big belt, and I had to use it, and I ended up refereeing that day as well. And I refereed that tournament, so I'm in work mode. And don't get me wrong, I know what I'm getting myself into. I'm about to work and compete. So mentally, I prepare for that. But I thought I competed around 5, and it was a misjudgment on time, and I ended up going at 3:30. And so I'm still on the mat working, and they're calling me, Alan Martinez, you're going to be DQ. This is your third and final call. And I'm just like, is this me? Like, they're calling me? And they said from sequence. And I'm like, oh, wow, they are calling me. So I had to go tell the guys, like, hey, I'm refereeing. What happened? Like, I thought I go at this time. They're like, no, that's the open division. And I was like, oh, wow. So my division was at 3:30. So I'm scrambling, and my head's racing, and I'm getting even more nervous about it. And I get there, and I'm like, oh, shoot, like, I'm trying to put my headphones on and get in the mode and flip the switch. and it was just I felt pretty off. And even my uncle noticed it too when I competed. And I'm not trying to discredit the guy that beat me. He's a tough kid. He's a coming up kid, and he was just better than me that day because there's a couple of adversity things that I couldn't, in a sense, overcome. And that was like, wow, like like when I lose jiu-jitsu, I can count almost on my hands how many times I've lost over the 10 plus years of competing. And and it was like, wow, that was a hard pill to swallow. And you know, like things like that happen the next day. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna go run more. I'm gonna work out more. I'm gonna do more jiu-jitsu classes, more classes. And I think I trained like 3 classes that day. I had a 4:30 class, a 6 o'clock class, and a 7:30 class I did. So I trained 3 classes. I go home, I shower and all that. I was at my sister's house, and this is when we knew about Johnny's shoulder being hurt when I was making my amateur debut. And it was 12-day notice because I just competed that Sunday. So that Monday, the next day, I'm at my sister's house and my uncle calls me. And actually, Johnny called me and he's like, hey, my dad wants to talk to you. And I was, oh, okay. He said, hey, Alan, what do you think about fighting next weekend? And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, I've been waiting my whole life for this call. So that adversity and that problem that happened the day before, me not winning, was destined to happen because it made me be on my toes. Because if I would have won that tournament, I probably would have been eating like crap, or mentally would have been like, you know what, like, you know, I just won this tournament and this and that. I didn't even train on Monday because I won the tournament. So I didn't feel like I could take a day off. And now I got to switch gears. But because I was like, I lost and I had to like reprogram myself to like, okay, Alan, just pick yourself back up. Let's get going. It's not the end of the world. Let's keep going. It was like, hell yeah, like, let's go. Like, I'm ready for this. I've been waiting my whole life for that call. And what an opportunity it was on a 12-day notice to be able to have my first amateur fight and actually have a ball to be rolling down a hill. And who would have known it would have led me up to this moment right now.
Hell yeah, man. Shit. Man, that's a story and a half, bro. Damn. I didn't know you. Oh, man.
Wow. I have a lot of those little things that happen in my life. And it's for me to know and for me to share when the time comes. I'm really big on not casting pearls among swine. Because with pearls, you can sell it, make money. You give it to a pig, they're just going to eat it. And they're not going to know what they could do with it. So for me, when people ask, I'll give them the answer, but I'm not just going to be rambling about all this stuff that I know and all this knowledge I have in my head, just to give out. It's when I know someone needs to hear it, like, especially for this interview. You never know who's watching around the world, and they want to have inspiration. I'm really big on inspiring people. That's one way to give back. Like I remember a friend of mine in Mexico, he was telling me like, hey, happy birthday a few weeks ago and all that. And he's like, hey, I owe you a gift. And I was like, yeah, man, like, how about this? How about you accomplish your goals that you set? And that'll be like a gift. Like, I'll accept that as a gift, you know? So for having someone do something they set out to do. And a lot of people, like, you'd be surprised, they message me and Johnny a lot, and they're so inspired by us because, you know, our past and the way like Johnny always says it, no excuses, just hard work. No sad stories, no, like, yeah, people have humbling beginnings or they have a tough upbringing, but that's the last thing I want to hear is about your tough upbringing, because everyone in a sense had it tough. Even if you had it made, you had it tough, and in any state and any state of mind, because if you have it made, you still got to put in the work. You still got to grind. You think I want to wake up in the morning and go run and cut weight? Like, that's the last thing I want to do. I want to eat. I want to be able to just eat, make weight, and go fight. But there's sacrifices that need to be made and that people don't see. And you only see what people show you. So that's why I always say I'm really big on what you do in the dark and behind closed doors. You're going to be exposed in the light.
Definitely. Fuck, man. Yeah, bro. Damn, man. That's oh, man. That's as real as it gets right there, man. Folks, there's sacrifices, there's commitment, there's passion, there's what inspires you, what you do to inspire others, ambition, the whole 6ix9ine, the whole 9, man. You know, and yeah, I mean, bro, and there is no question in hell that, you know, you and Johnny, yeah, bro, 2 of the most committed guys I've ever met. You know, and you have your whole group of guys with you, yeah, your teammates, your crew. You know, everything, man. You know, it contributes to your success. You know, and 100%. I say with me, man. You know, I keep one friend with me. You know, one of my best friends, man. I keep him with me. He's been with me through 16 years. You know, me and him,
Awesome.
and you know, is that type of stuff. You know, but you inspire each other. You know,
Yes, of course, of
um,
course.
and that's what it's all about, man. You know, well, of course, your family inspire you. You know, I know my family inspire me, and I look at it like, you know, you have bars to. You feel like you have a bar to live up to, or there's a set bar for you right there, yeah, and it's left by
I
your.
look at the bar too, but I've been really big on everyone has their own path. Everyone's on their own journey. Yeah, me and Johnny train together, but we both have our own journey. We're fortunate enough that our journeys kind of they come together a lot. Our paths, they're always crossing and they're staying together. But when he fights in the UFC, he's going that route. I'm fighting UWC, and then we're gonna intertwine again when after the fights are over and everything, as we get together. I'm really big on that. People are on their own path, their own journey, and you don't want to look at someone else's journey and go, well, why can't I do that, or why is he having it like this? You got to look where you're at and what you're doing, what you're thinking, and that's why you're at where you're at. And like I'm really big on God blessing people in different ways, and it's unfortunate for certain people to go through what they have to go through in their time. But if it happens to you like that, look at it all as everything is out to help you. People think everything's out to hurt them. Instead of saying why me, say try me. You know, just change the words you use in your head, because the world is brainwashing you daily. They're always telling you to consume, obey, follow these rules, follow this agenda. And if you're the outsider to that and you say no, you're crazy. It's because they can't fathom what you're thinking. They can't think like you. They're sheep, and you could be a lion in a world full of leaders that are sheep, and you're going to become a sheep. But if you have a bunch of sheep and then you're being led by a lion, you're out. You can get things done. Wow. So it's one of those things that people don't look at. Who are you following? Who are you looking around? Like, I'm really big on my phone. Like, right, everyone's on their phone. So if you're on your phone and you're looking at your phone and you're being upset, you're mad, you're angry because what you see on your own phone, you got to unfollow those pages. You got to follow things that inspire you, that make you like. I get a lot of people, oh, why don't you follow me back, or why don't you this and that, and even if it's family or anything, no hard feeling. You can give me a call if you have my number. You give me a text. It's all love. You text me, hey Alan, how you doing? I'll get back to you. It's all love, this and that. But if you have something you're posting and I don't like, don't take it personal. And if people have problems, I don't get why they don't just communicate. A lot of problems in this world, a lot of wars, a lot of this and that, all because of miscommunication. And another thing too, I remember hearing this. I forgot who mentioned it from the team, but they're like, instead of world wars, we should have the leaders go at it. Wow. Like have the leaders go in like a grappling match or a fight. let them go at it, you know. And I always, and I heard it too, like if you're gonna lead the country, at least be in shape, at least know how to fight. Like you got Vladimir Putin, that guy, he a tough SOB. So if you're gonna have, like, he has a dispute with you and you got to settle it, that's one way to settle it, instead of taking so many innocent lives, the war and this and that, and just let the main guys that are having the miscommunication deal with it, instead of bringing so many. It's like me and you having a miscommunication. Now we got my team and your team going at it. And it's like, why can't the main people just talk about it behind closed doors? Doesn't need to be in an interview per se. It could just be behind closed doors. You settle your dispute and you move on. But nowadays with the world, people with social media and everything, you can talk so much crap with people and not get punished for it. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. What a time we're in.
Social media has the ups and downs. Yeah, bro, you could be in. Bro, Alan, yeah, in terms of fighting, entertainment, yeah, sure, it's there.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's there, man. But there's entertainment, then there's a bridge too far. Yeah, bro. There's no doubt about that, bro. You can talk shit to someone, yeah, bro. But when a fan starts talking, but then if one guy starts talking shit about a fighter, yeah, bro, and then you see the thread, and all the fans start joining in, and they start talking shit about that guy. Or you get on Facebook, bro. There's all these discussion groups, and you know, there's all these different guys talking crap. You know, some of these guys don't know what the hell they're talking about, man. And I know I'm a part of a few of them, right? And
Right, of course.
some of these bro, I'm like, should I ignore this or should I go back and just wreck this guy totally? Yeah. And then normally I would go past, yeah. Or
you probably, I bet you have, huh? Where you wreck those guys, and then after you just like, was it worth it? And then like I'm really big on that too, because I see a lot of guys after a fight, they lose or something happens, or even like the Frankie Edgar for example, when it's a bad knockout and they just go, man, that guy needs to retire or this and that. And you kind of want to put yourself in that person's shoes, and they see that. But like I told you earlier, I'm really big on, if you tell me something or if I see it, like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. That's, again, your opinion. And if I keep seeing it and my name's being mentioned, I'm going to look at it as all publicity is good publicity. So whether you talk good or bad about me, my name's being spoken. You're thinking about me. I'm taking space in your head. So, yeah.
There are times where I've wrecked him, man. Totally. Yeah, but when they were bagging on Tony Ferguson and saying that he should retire, I've wrecked some guy bad, man. Then when they were bagging on, I know they were banging on one of my guys, you know, because a couple of my guys that I do podcasts with, bro, I've become a lot closer with, like you two,
of course,
you know. And some of these guys were bagging on, you know, Jerome Rivera, and I went back at them, yeah, but I wrecked some guy, yeah, because he was bagging on Jerome. Bro, that's my boy. You don't start talking crap, you know. Well, luckily, no one bagged on Johnny after his fight with Nate.
That was a lot of people put in there like, wow, I can't believe that scorecard and this and that. And you do get a couple people that go, man, that guy, he always kept hitting the low blows, like, get that guy out of here and this and that. And then you get guys trying to say things to him, and sometimes me and Johnny will look at it and we'll laugh about it. Like, we'll click on the guy's page and we're looking at like what they post on their page, and you know, they only got like 20 followers or 5 followers, and they just want to, everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants that limelight. They want the attention, and then they get 1,000 likes on that one comment. Whoa. They feel like they, you know, mama, we made it.
Yeah. And bro, this is what pisses me off, yeah, because like it demeans all the other people that actually do this because they care about sport, you know. And these guys, I feel like some of them, they start these pages up just to get 1,000 likes on one post, you know. They do it just for likes. I'm like, bro, I will slap you right now. Yeah,
that's the difference. So a lot of people don't, like, I believe it was Mike Tyson that said it, that social media is making people brave, but they're not getting punched in the face enough for what they're saying. And there's actually something I just watched recently where I believe it was before the Conor and Nate Diaz fight. I believe it was the first one, I want to say, when Nate won. They were doing an interview with they had Nate Diaz kind of hidden, and they were talking to people on the street. Oh, what do you think about Conor McGregor? What do you think about Nate Diaz? And all those people like, yeah, Conor's gonna knock him out, this and that. Nate's not ready for him. And then they have Nate Diaz come out right after, and he's standing there just, you know, chilling, and the guy sees him, and he's like he looks like he just lost his soul, like, oh wow, like he's actually here, and they're like, hey, what's up, buddy? And that's so fake, and it's like, that's a lot of people though, so it's kind of interesting. They did it with 50 Cent as well, and they even had I think an interview where Drake was disguised as somebody, and he's like, what do you think about Drake? And they talk about him. They're like, yeah, I think he's overrated, or he's this and that. And they're like, what would you tell Drake right now? And he's like, well, he's a trash rapper, or he's this and that. And the guy, like, and then Drake takes off his thing, and they're like, oh my God, like, it's you, Drake. Let me get a picture. Let me get your autograph. I'm like, you were just talking crap to the dude 5 minutes ago. Now you want to be buddies with them. So a lot of people just need to get smacked a little bit because of what they say. And a lot of people, they don't understand what their mouth, with words, they're inviting their own beating pretty much. And I believe that was in Proverbs. So a lot of things I read up on, and I'm like, wow, okay. So a lot of people just need to be checked. And it's not necessarily my job to check you, because one day we're all going to meet our maker, and that'll be the moment you get checked. And that's why I don't judge people. You can talk all the crap you want, as long as you're not doing something physically to me or my family. Then it just white smoke. It just noise. And if I got to throw a rock at every barking dog at me, I'm not going to get to my destination. So I need to get to my destination And if I could just avoid a situation because people want to get brave and talk their crap, then it is what it is. But if you come up to me in my face and you do something, especially my team, then we're going to have an issue.
Straight up, man. There's people that write checks here that their ass can't cash. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah, and I hate that. You know, I hate it so much, bro, because you know there's a lot of memes out there like that. You know, and like you see this fat guy eating popcorn and chips, and he's watching UFC, and he starts talking crap about the fighters. Or you know, there's guys on social media talking crap about Leon Edwards, or there's guys talking, you know, so much smack about this fighter and this fighter. They don't know what it's like, bro. They don't know what it's like. That's why I never talk. That's why I never say anything, bro. I never say anything bad about a fight. If I'm gonna say something bad about someone, it'll be about the performance, or it'll be about just like a technique, just like something. You know, he should have thrown this when he should have thrown this, or you know, he came in. You know, it's only because there are those fans, bro, who can make those comments. You know, but yeah, as long as you're not trashing the guy.
Yeah, of course. And when you get to their family and all that, there's a fine line, like you were telling me, that entertainment, right? And then the bridge. When is it too much? And I kind of want to speak on that too, because if you know you're selling a fight, like, okay, you got to sell the fight. At least do it like Conor McGregor, good example, selling fights and all that. But then you become buddy with Dustin Poirier, and of course you want to like, you grow as a human being. So you come in as that, like, yeah, screw you and this and that, and whatever your coach says, I don't believe, and this and that. And then you kind of like, all right, well, I'm gonna try a different route. I'll be nice to this guy, and then you got to think about it. Well, whatever you're doing that was working, you got to keep doing. If it works for you, you got to keep doing. And for him to say those things, it can be hurtful. But when you're understanding that it's a business, we're all entrepreneurs. When you're an MMA fighter and you're professional, you're an entrepreneur and you're working. Certain people just got to understand that. But when you mention people's family, their kids, certain things where it's a little too offensive. And obviously after the fight, they apologize, or hey, you know, this was like a good example to Conor and Khabib. He's all telling him this is just business. This is all business. Remember that when he mentioned that to him? Yeah, and Khabib was like, man, he made fun of my country. He made fun of my family. He called us rats. He did this and that. Like, and certain people don't play around. So when they see you, it's on sight. So there's a fine line. It's kind of tough to see where's the line, of course, but you only know if you're saying something and deep down, you know, you're doing it to get a reaction out of them, to get in their head. Like, I mean, there's probably a different way around it. Like, say we're going to, like, me and you had a fight coming up, and I tell you, like, hey, no hard feelings, man, all business, but let's promote the crap out of this fight. Like, if you want to make a story about me, I'm all for it, this and that. We'll settle it in the cage, and at the end of it, it's all love. Because at the end of the day, if there's more love in this world than hate, we can get so much done. And yeah, like for me, when I'm fighting somebody, and I mean, it can be deadly in there. And the wrong punch or this and that can end a career. And you look at that like, wow. But me mentally, I'm always big on sending love to people. And like, I'm not to fight you, but deep down, I have love for you, you know? Yeah. So that's the difference from how I look at it. But everyone looks at life differently. They perceive things differently. You could give us two different paintings, and I might say it looks like that. You might say it looks like this, just because of our upbringing, how we look at life. So it just depends on the situation, of course. But if you're promoting a fight and at the end of it, yay, no hard feelings, and they go, no, you talked about my kid, you talked about okay, then it looks like we need to settle this. Let's do this behind closed doors. Obviously, we're doing it for a fight, but if you still got some animosity for me, I'll send a location and meet me here where no cameras, no team, just me and you. We'll settle it, and let's take care of what we need to take care of.
Yep. Let's see what's up. On that note, Alan, brother, you know, there's so much shit, you know, inside the cage, outside the cage, on your phone, on the keyboard, you know, that's just the reality of it now, I guess. You know, new era, new age. You know, but you never know nowadays, man. Unpredictability is still the same. But I wish you all the best of luck, man. I want to thank you, man, for coming down. You know, today I know, you know, it's fight week right now. You know, the 26th, 4 nights away, bro. You look good, man. You know, you got the shirt on. You know what I mean? Represent. And you know, you got the rasa right there behind you, bro. Man, I wanna thank you, bro. Right now, man, it's always a pleasure, man. You know, you guys are my brothers. I will always continue to support you guys, man.
I appreciate what you're doing, man. You're helping fighters get their story out there and promote these guys. I mean, it's always a blessing to be able to talk to you, whether it's interview or messages, and keeping up with each other and checking in on how we're doing and everything. I'm very grateful for you for that factor. I'm grateful for a lot of the people supporting me, because without them, I'm nothing. Without God, I'm nothing. And I have a lot of people that there's so many people that help me out, and it's unfortunate some of them don't get recognized. Like my grandmother, she's my meal prep. She helps me out so much. My aunt, she gives me so much wisdom. My uncle, John Munoz, a lot of my sponsors, my cousin Johnny, my brother, a lot of the people my sister, Game Break Sports Massage. She has her own business with massage therapy, the physical therapy that we post about, sports specific rehab. I got SoCal Shipping, The Barber Studios, Rome Mechanics. He helps me with my car. CK Fight Life with all my gear. KKG, a good friend of mine, in their karate gym that they're supporting me with. Mick Clothing, it's a new upcoming apparel brand. Nice. Quiet Monk CBD helps me get my rest, helps me recover. There's just so many people. Never Quit. Hank, he helps me with my banners, and he's family. There's all these people that I wish like they could be with, like they're with me, of course, but some of them just don't get noticed. And there's a lot of people behind the scene that help me out, and and Sequence MMA and my team and Brown Bomber Boxing. There's just so many people, and all the people I interact with daily. Like I can find inspiration on anything, even just being on my phone and someone posting something that I like. It's a blessing for sure. So I'm just very fortunate and blessed to be in a position I'm at right now. And again, this is only the beginning. So this is still just the early stages. We're coming for everything. Bro, they all get me.
UFC Fight Pass, yeah, I'll guarantee you right now, bro, yeah. Give it a couple of fights on Fight Pass, they'll notice you, yeah, and you'll be on a contender, man, straight off the bat. Yeah, bro. Ain't no doubt about that. If Greg Hardy can go there, bro, in his pro debut, yes, you know, no reason Alan Martinez here, bro, cannot go into the contender series, man, of the UWC. Yeah, bro. Go get it, man. Go get it, bro. 4 nights away, man. Pro debut. Yeah, Super Glue is back, man.
The glue's here, and he's in full effect, and I'm ready to treat the world for a night to remember. It's gonna be a great night. Tune in, 3 p.m. Pacific time, and just be ready. 3 to 6 around that time frame. Be ready Friday. So we're ready for whatever comes to us. So God willing, we come out with the win, and I prepared for it. I visualized it. Now it's just time to go back in time and do it again.
Nice, bro. And I wish you all the best of luck, man. Thank you so much, bro. Once again, yeah. Thank you, Alan, bro. Have a good day, man.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, man.